Hello, welcome to MTG Grinders. We're at FNM. It's Modern. It's the final round. It's the second game. I'm Lewis.
I'm Cohen. Tyler leads 2-1 over Trent. Tyler's the one on the right, and Trent's the one on the left.
Yeah, as you said, Tyler did take the first game, so Trent's on the play, and he's on the play with an Inquisition, taking a Blood Moon.
Well, that would have been painful for Trent if that had resolved.
I think you automatically just get rid of that Blood Moon. Blood Moon is one of those cards that can single-handedly win so many games.
The one-card combo in some decks, well, when versing some decks, I should say.
Yep, one-card combo indeed. Now Tyler's fetching with his Pluto Delta, getting an island. Now, I didn't get a good look at his hand when he was revealing it just earlier, but I assume he's got Zero Visions, just as I thought.
The first game went for a while, went for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, very long. A very long skill testing game, but these two players are two of the pillars of the Vinegar Magic community, so they're used to it. They're used to these kinds of games.
They've versed each other many times. They've played long matches.
Yep, they've definitely. I've seen them go to time, like not due to slow play, just due to that kind of match.
And I think they both show up on a Friday night expecting to verse each other sometime during the night.
Well, they used to live together, and so they used to test a lot together. So they're just used to each other's play styles.
That will be a good and a bad thing.
Now we've just got the odd fetch here. Both players are just setting up the early turns of their game, trying to eke out an advantage for the mid game.
Well, I think Tyler's the aggressive deck. I was thinking in game one with the Delvers, Young Pyromancers, and Bolts. So I think Trent's going to have to go the traditional control role in the matchup. But we'll see where it leads. Yeah,
well, they're both decks that can be either aggro or control. Like Tyler's got his aggressive Delver card and the Young Pyromancer, but he's also playing a lot of control spells like counter magic, removal, and the same with Trent. Like he can beat down with Lingering Souls tokens, Tasiga.
Both decks
got Tasiga.
Both decks are capable of a turn 2 Tasiga or going fetch land, crack, Thought Scour, fetch land, crack, Tasiga.
Yep, that's absolutely right.
And a 4/5 on turn 2 is nothing to shake a stick at.
Now, is that a double remand in Trent's hand? I think I saw. Now, looks like Tyler could be potentially setting up a play here. Yep, he's just running out.
I see a Lingering Souls.
I see. Yeah, Lingering Souls, double remand. Think twice? No,
does sound like a Trent card.
That's a card he was fond of back in its standard days.
One card that turns into 2 over the course of a game is...
Yep, it's a good thing to just do with your mana as well.
On early turns
in the early game, you can go end step, draw a card, and interacts really well with Thought Scour if you mill it. Now, it looks like Tyler's also got the remand in hand, so we might see a remand war where one of these players casts a spell, it gets remanded, and then the original player remands their own spell to draw the card and counter the remand.
Magic is such a confusing and beautiful game at times.
I love little niche interactions like that where the correct play isn't necessarily what most people would think is the obvious one.
Tyler's delving away with 1 black, so this will be a Tasiga.
It's either a Tasiga or a Gurmag Angler, Miser's Gurmag Angler, which I quite like. He's chosen to play that over the 3rd Tasiga, which I like that. You get an extra point of power, and you don't get the awkward draws as often where you have 2 Tasigas in hand. You can run them both out at the same time.
It's a Tasiga this time.
He's got a Tasiga this time. I think it's 2 Tasiga, 1 Gurmag Angler, I believe, is his main deck.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with Tasiga, he's actually legendary. That's why it's an awkward draw with 2 of them.
Yep, he's the legendary rule unfortunately does not let you keep both of them. But I do like the play of casting the second Death Task. In this situation where you have 2 Taskers, you can cast the second Tasker to control your graveyard if it gets out of hand.
That is smart play. As
And
we
give
saw
it
a quick, we also saw a quick little fight over that where Trent tried to remand it and Tyler responded with a Spell Pierce.
Yep. Spell Pierce is a pretty solid card in this matchup. Like a lot of Trent's key cards, Remand, Snapcaster Mage, they all cost 2. And so Spell Pierce just
making them cost 4 actually is quite expensive for their ability.
It's a good early card. And Trent's firing off the Lingering Souls. I think I said this in his last. Actually, every time Lingering Souls has been cast in today's matches, it's one of my favourite cards in the entire.
The smile has not left your face.
I always smile whenever I see that card because it's one of those cards that tends to come and go in Moderns. Sometimes it's played all the time. Sometimes it's just nowhere to be seen.
It's the niche card that breaks a matchup, like just.
Yep.
Your deck's quite weak in a sense, and that just helps smooth it out, makes it a bit stronger, more consistent.
There was a while there where Thundermaw Hellkite became a very playable card in Modern because of Lingering Souls.
I think it's still very playable.
I don't think it's as strong as it was for that brief time I'm talking about, though. It's still fine.
I think Jund has filtered off a little bit in favour of Junk. Or Abzan,
as it's now called,
because of Siege Rhinos, and
which is something that happened because of Lingering Souls before Khans of Tarkir was anywhere near being released. Around the time of the banning of Bloodbraid Elf, I believe. The Jundex was branching into white to play Lingering Souls, to play the Red-White Ajani Vengeance.
I am very fond of that card.
That's a card.
Lightning Helix on a stick.
Yeah, that's a card that I haven't cast enough times. Oh, did someone knock the camera? Or was there an earthquake in Bendigo?
I think someone knocked the camera. If there's an earthquake, people will be diving to protect their Tarmogoyfs.
Which I believe is on the other side of the room in Trent's case at the moment, currently in the deck I was playing.
Okay, back to the game. We've had an attack from Tassiger, and Trent's now down to 17, while Tyler's on 16.
Trent's playing conservatively with his Lingering Souls, attacking for 1 whilst leaving the other one as a blocker. I don't think Trent minds too much if Tyler decides to 1-for-1 each token.
No, I think that's a good way for Trent to actually get ahead.
Yeah. Just to grind out and get that card advantage.
What people don't actually think about too much for when 1-for-1s, if you've got that big 5/5 creature that attacks and takes down a creature each turn, it's providing card advantage in a sense of just beating through creatures.
Yep. Combat is a great way of providing card advantage, like chunk blocking. Now, in Trent's hand, we see looks like he's leaving his hand open. As we said, these two guys are friends. They may be playing in the finals, but Trent's not changing the game by letting Tyler see the cards he already knows about, because he knows Tyler's play well enough to.
He knows Tyler
would not forget those cards. No.
And we've got a Snapcaster, a Jace.
We see Jace, Architect of Thought, which is a card that I'm really happy to see played in Modern. It was a very strong card when it was in Standard, and it's one of those cards when it rotated out, I was hoping to see if it becomes strong.
It was probably one of the strongest Jaces outside of Mind Sculptor.
Yeah, it's probably the. Now, I'm sure contextually you could argue that there are cases where Jace Balerian's a bit better, but it's probably the most playable Jace in Modern.
I'm almost thinking, after seeing all these cards, it's not Esper's greatest hits, just Trent's.
Trent's greatest hits. Well, I'm looking at them like Remand obviously is a card that Trent wasn't playing when that was in Standard, but it's an amazing card that Trent and I both love. So,
and Trent has done his fair share of Snapcasters, Lingering Souls, Jaces.
Tasker like a more recent one, but yeah, Jace, Lingering Souls, Snapcaster. He's played all those cards before many times.
Well, we've got a Delver of Secrets on Tyler's side of the field now.
Yep. Now, I want to say I quite like Tyler's deck choice. The Grixis Delver list. It's kind of that traditional red-blue Delver list, which was very strong when Treasure Cruise was legal. But now that Treasure Cruise is banned, it's just Tasiga's coming in to replace it.
1 blue, draw 3 cards was always strong from the beginning of Magic. And nothing has changed in that sense, so it has now been banned.
And splashing for black, you get access to some interesting cards like Murderous Cut, which is what Tyler's playing.
1 black, destroy target creature.
You can have Hand Disruption, you can have Terminate, which is in some cases better than the burn spells that red provides.
It's much better as a removal for creatures with the higher things, like Tasiga.
So yeah, I find it a very interesting deck.
Okay, Tyler draws.
And he draws
Gataxian
Probe,
which will flip the Delver.
And he's probably going to fire it off to... Well, it depends. He knows Trent's hand, so he might save it because he's got a few other plays he can make.
Perfect.
But it doesn't really matter because Trent scoops.
Trent was in a tough spot, and he knew that.
He was just facing down some powerful threats, and Tyler is the FNM champion.
So congrats to Tyler, and we'll see you all soon.
And you can see Tyler's deck list on MTG Grinders on Facebook.
Give it a search. It's good.